I still remember the day as if it were yesterday. It was March 20th, 2012. Must have been half an hour past noon when I was very hungry and decided to have lunch before they shut the mess at 1. So I grabbed my water bottle and headed downstairs. After lunch, I was in the mood for an afternoon nap. But when I stepped out of the mess, I witnessed the most baffling sight on planet Earth. And it was this. Only one of my slippers had gone missing. The other one was still there. Now, let me explain the magnitude of this event to all of you. That day was not my first day in this institution. In my 2 years in Bombay, I had learned many things. I had learned to carry at least 100 rupees in cash at all times in case of an emergency. I had also learned to never travel to the suburbs by a virar fast. But my biggest life lesson yet had been this. Whenever your slippers go missing in the hostel, the thumb rule was to never be surprised. Move on, wear someone else's slipper, and be happy. But this was different. Only one slipper had disappeared. The other one had not. It had never happened before. This was big news. I mean, not only for India TV, but also for Doordarshan, NDTV, and Headlines Today. In fact, this news was fed for CNN and BBC. It was the mystery of the missing slipper. At first, I was immensely fascinated by it. I knew there was no scarcity of dumb people in this hostel. I mean, I was a living example of that. But this act was dumber than the dumbest thing I had ever seen. Why would someone leave the other slipper? Why take the left slipper and not the right one? What was the intention behind this? What did it signify? Was it a warning of some kind? Or was it a mere prank? The questions were spinning in my head. I was confused. I had lost my orientation, and the world was swirling around me. The initial fascination had now turned into frustration. I was running around like a headless chicken. But in all my desperation, I couldn't figure it out. I decided to take inspiration from movies. I was the girl with the dragon tattoo, secret window, and abduction. I even watched the last 3 times, but the answer still eluded me. One fine day, I was staring at the question, and suddenly I had a brilliant idea. If I wanted inspiration, why not take it from the greatest detectives of all time? I decided to travel back in time and meet Sherlock Holmes in person. Now I had come back in time, but I was still in Bombay. And back then, it would have taken me weeks together to reach London from India. So, to avoid the inconvenience, I traveled back to 2011, booked my tickets on makemytrip.com, and reached London in 18 hours. I then travelled back in time to meet Sherlock Holmes. I went straight to Baker Street and searched for 221B. I was lucky to find Mr. Holmes resting in his armchair. I briefed him on the facts of the case. Mr. Holmes had been leaning back in his chair with his eyes closed all the while. Once I was done, he glanced across the room. I saw a hint of doubt in his eyes. He got up and started pacing here and there. He was whispering words to himself, and his body language was really spooky. But after a long while, he spoke to me, and this is what he said. The case cannot be solved. I had spent a lot of time and money to unravel the mystery, but the solution was nowhere in sight. Maybe the slipper had disappeared into thin air. As per the laws of physics, it wasn't possible, but this case had defied logic since the very beginning. Maybe it had defied physics as well. I had done everything I could, but in this case, everything wasn't good enough. Today my slipper is still without its companion. Even I miss it sometimes. But gradually I've come to realize that material possessions come and go. Experiences stay with you forever. The mystery of the missing slipper was one hell of an experience for me.